Does he have a value to search? Or no? No value to search, okay.
I feel like if you can't win this game, like, you gotta give up the deck. Like, it's over for you.
Trishula! Sackface, where you at? Where you at, you homophobe? Where you at? Get back in
He's gonna
here.
claim he didn't. He's gonna claim he didn't see it.
Somebody tag Sackface. All right, welcome back to the channel. I'm here today with my good friend and Edison World Champion. Last year we had a Televisual win. How are you doing, King?
I'm good. I'm good.
Yeah, we're going to be covering the top 8 deck list from the IMNerd Trishula Cup that happened this past weekend, the weekend of February 22nd. It was an Edison tournament where you were allowed to play one copy of Trishula Dragon of the Ice Barrier. Almost everyone took advantage of this in one way or another. Some people obviously played Trishula in their deck, and then there are people who played anti-Trishula spam decks or anti, decks that are good at playing Trishula, aka GBs. GBs was the deck that people chose to play against the Trishula deck. So it was mainly a field of, obviously you had your birds, but it was mainly a field of frogs were the most dominant deck in terms of representation, and then I would say that GBs were second, and then there were like birds as well. A good amount of birds, but they definitely got eliminated pretty early, most of them, even though ultimately, at the end of the tournament, birds did take it down, but there were a lot of frogs. So why don't we go over to this tab? So this was the payout. We had a $700 prize pool. That was a combination of money from the IMNerd piggy bank and also a donation of $500 made by my good friend Vinny Casello. So thank you so much for that donation. First, second, third, and fourth, this is how much they took home. We do these tournaments frequently, like every couple months or whatever, and we always try to give out some amount of money, and then it scales with donations or whatever. If people want to contribute to those prize pools, we're always welcome to that. We're always happy to have that. And we've even done a tournament before where somebody requested that we throw a tournament with like a special rule, and they basically paid for it. They funded the tournament with their own money. So yeah, that's something that we're open to discuss and do as well, if people have good ideas for something like that. But we're going to be doing the top 8 deck list. So in 7th place, we have Johnny the Giraffe, which I believe I've played this guy before in a format library tournament. He is playing a deck that Sushant and I are both well aware of. It is like a virus, like a full-on virus deck. It's not virus value, but it's virus Blackwings.
Yeah, this is just a lot of hate.
Yeah, like 6 viruses is actually crazy, which is cool because we had a bingo card yesterday, and on that bingo card we had any virus resolves, and so he definitely would have made sure that we hit that no matter what. Yeah, Fusilier, I don't like this card without skill drain in the deck, because if you draw it without a virus, it's kind of bad. But I guess if you're playing 6 viruses, you probably don't have that problem.
Yeah, definitely very, very interesting. Johnny's actually, I think, Handicap Krippen's brother, like twin brother.
Oh.
Yeah,
Oh.
I met them at Anaheim. And
yeah, I did too. I didn't realize that Johnny the Giraffe was the other one.
yeah, he's a really, really good player.
Yeah, so I'm not surprised that he top 8'd this, but this list is actually cool. I feel like this list could translate into Edison without Trishula, obviously. Like, you could play this. This is a deck that you could play for real in a tournament that doesn't include Trishula or not. So, I mean, this card is, the stocks are up because Giga Vice as a deck, that deck plays like 25 spells. And this is just ODs on that deck. Dragon Turbo, same thing. It just loses to this card. And even Forks plays a lot of spells as well. So you can hit the combo decks, like the crazy combo decks. They all lose to this card if you catch them at the right time. And then it's just a Blackwing deck on top of that. So it just has all the broken cards still. He's playing 3 of everything. He did not cut out any of the Blackwings to make this deck possible. He just cut out on deep prisons and bottomless trap holes, so
yeah, Johnny basically bet that everyone's gonna play Forgs to bring out Trishula, and he went deep on that.
Yeah, honestly, he wasn't too wrong. A lot of people did play Forgs, but there were a lot of frog decks that were just like homebrews. I mean, Ronak's deck was a Diva frog deck, and we have like a couple other ones too. So why don't we move on to the next one? Okay, also in 7th place, we have Alpha EXE. Now, this is what I mean. So this is a frog deck that is not Forks, but he does have a Fishborg Blaster in there. It's Hero Frogs with instant fusion and like everything. Like, he's playing 45 cards because he couldn't figure out what to cut. So he just added a bunch of cards. Trishula is there, of course. There's ways that you can make Trishula if you have Malicious, a Dupe Frog, and a Fishborg Blaster. Or I guess you can't. You actually can't do that. Never mind. I was going to say like 6 + 2 + 1 is 9, but Fishborg Blaster requires that you use a water monster, so he has to do like Junk Synchron plays to bring it out, which I think Death Frog plus Junk Synchron plus Treeborn Frog, which is actually not hard to do at all when you think about it. Like this
yeah,
right
and
here.
he has instant fusion, so I like this a lot. He was trying to spam Trishula. I felt like I watched a lot of the replays, and I felt like a lot of players weren't actually trying to spam Trishula or not as easily, and
Yeah.
this guy definitely was.
Yeah, his deck is definitely built to do that. It's also built to Colossal Army Armu because he's playing Beel's Frog, which I feel like, this card is terrible to play outside of Forgs usually, but it does help with, one, it can help you make Trishula easier, but two, it makes Army Arm Colossal require less cards, and this is also technically an out to like Fossil Dyna, which we saw a ton of Fossil Dynas in this tournament, so there's that. Side deck, pretty standard. This is like an old school side deck with the three Book of Moons. This is what Ronk used to side way back in the day when the only anti-frog card at the time was Dyna. And so you just like stand by phase, book it, bring back Treeborn Frog, and then deal with it that way. 3 Vanity's Fiend makes sense. I think this just makes sense in general, like in Edison period right now. Gigavice, Forgs, all the other decks that just like to special summon a bunch of monsters. This card's also really good against value as well, especially as value decks take out more of their defense for like cards like DDV and things like that. So yeah, I like the side deck. Nothing too crazy there. Mariner for the instant fusion. I guess you could do this. 1 instant fusion target with 2 instant fusions is fine. He's playing 45 cards. He likely won't draw a second one, but let's move on.
Super cool list.
Okay, so then we have my best friend Adam, who is playing Forgs. He's one of the people known for the deck. He won that Retro Games tournament earlier in the year. Shout out to him. So this is Forgs with main deck Crow, main deck My Body, because he expected viruses. So everyone was making meta calls for this tournament, which makes sense. No one played their deck just in a standard way. It seems like everyone was just doing a little extra to kind of thwart Trishula spam. And yeah, DD Crow main deck, I could see this becoming an actual thing, Like, despite this guy, I could see this becoming an actual thing soon. But I'm trying to see what he cut. What is not here? Because I see all of the frogs are here. Like, he's playing Unifrog and Flip Flop and Beals. So all of the frogs are there. 3
Did he cut Upstarts?
Well, they never played. Adam and Alistair don't play Upstart. They never liked that card. Oh, he's not playing he's not playing Trunate. He's not playing MST. He's not playing Brain Control or Gores. So that's where the cuts are. There's no Gores. There's no Brain. There's no MST, there's no Trunate. This is instead of Trunate, because I think Trunate is better than MST in his deck anyway.
Yeah, I mean that's what I love about these special format cups, because I feel like people try to meta game them, and it's even before the tournament, Gary and I were talking about what decks we thought would be good. So it's super interesting to see how people kind of adjusted their Edison decks.
Yep, and he side decks cards to kind of transition the deck to a more control-based frog deck. Like, it basically becomes Dream Frogs after game 1 if he feels he needs to. And these two are new additions to the Forg side deck. I don't think we've seen Forg siding this yet. This is anti-Forg stuff, I feel like, because Forgs kill you through Gores pretty easily. And if they don't kill you, they'll take the Gores, which is like really bad for you, because then they have 5. They'll leave 1 open spot, put 8,000 on the board, attack you, you'll drop Gores, they'll steal the Gores, and then they have 5 monsters in main phase 2. They go substitute, turn everything into Dupe Frogs and Flip Flop Frog or whatever, and like pass. And then you just lose the game anyway, even though you had Gores. You're not really coming back from that usually. So Tragodia makes it a little bit harder to kill someone if they have a big hand, and Forks usually does because it's not doing anything until it wins. So like if he's playing in a mirror match or whatever and they go for a big board and try to just attack for game, you drop Tragodia on the first attack. Nothing is bigger than Tragodia unless there's like several armory arms equipped, because the Tragodia will ideally drop at 3,000 attack, and usually there's not going to be a monster that is that big. I forget in Edison format if Army Arm burns for Tragodia. I think it does, which is relevant, obviously. If the Tragodia dies, it goes to the grave, but I think Army Arm checks the attack on the field or something, they said. So like,
yeah, it's the original attack, right?
Yeah, so Army Arm has been since errated, and the Colossal Army Arm thing doesn't even work in modern Yu-Gi-Oh! But I think in Edison format, if you attack a Tragodia and it was like 3,000 attack on the field, instead of doing 0 damage to them, it actually will deal the whole 3,000, which is broken. So anyway, that's Adam's deck. So let's move on. So we have Edison Club Mike. Shout out to him from the Edison Club. Subscribe to their YouTube channel. And this was his first online tournament. He was saying that he had a lot of nerves about playing online, but he wanted to try with an IMNerd tournament. He's been watching them for years now. And for his first showing, getting top 8 immediately, and he was very close to doing better than that if he saw some different lines. We were watching his match on stream since he was one of the ones that was at the end of the losers bracket. But his deck, he's known for this deck. He's top 8 at a YCS and Ultimate Time Wizard with this deck. He got top 4 actually with this, you know, this type of build. Or I think at the time, I don't think it was Christy Sworn. He might have been playing pure Lightsworn at the time, and then he's since transitioned to Christy Sworn, which to me just makes sense. Christy Sworn is the superior deck, if you ask me. I think this card is insane. It's one of the only things that could actually stop like Forgs, because Substitute, once it's normal summon, there's no way to reestablish a Substitute. So this can, like, you know, stop Substitute and then give you another turn. They have to have 1-for-1 to special summon Toad at that point, but if they have all that, they were going to win anyway, right? So what do you think about this? Because he's playing Christias and Wolves. Usually they only play one or the other.
Yeah, I mean, I think if you're gonna go for the luck deck, you might as well max out your chances. I like it.
Yeah.
I think this is a really good deck list.
Yep.
He's a good player.
And one Raikou too, because it's a little slow in this format.
Yep. With
the Trishula in the format, it speeds everything up. Everybody wants to go fast. Like, nobody wants to be setting monsters too often. This isn't really like the most grindy format once you add Trishula into it. It's more like try to resolve this to deal massive card advantage swings and then win from there. And everyone who summoned Trishula on stream yesterday, I think we saw 6 of them, they won that game. No one summoned Trishula and lost. Not a single person. There were some close calls, but no one summoned Trishula and lost yesterday. I noticed that. Every single person who summoned it was either game on the spot or the game you just couldn't recover from being Trishula. So,
and you know what stops Trishula? Herald of Orange Light.
Oh, it does, yeah. So if they put all those cards into a Trishula and you just negate it, that is pretty strong. But I like this list. I think this list is totally playable as is in modern Edison, like in current format with no Trishula. I think you could just take this exact list and play it.
Yeah, I feel like even as a value player, like Raikou stocks are down right now. It's just too slow for Forgs and Giga.
Yeah.
And so you see a lot more Lila popping up.
Yeah, people are playing. I definitely noticed that the EWCQ9, the one that we covered last weekend, every value player that topped, I'm pretty sure played a Lila. So
yeah, which a true hero invented.
Yep,
so.
He was the first person to do that I saw for sure. So all right, well, let's move on to Nippy, who is playing. So this is top 4. Now these people are in the money, don't forget. So everyone in top 4 got paid, right? So here we go. This is GB. So he was the 1 GB player who made it into top 8. There were several of them in the tournament though, but a lot of them did lose to frog decks, which I saw. Because the frog decks, so the thing about them is that they're so explosive that when they do break through, you're not recovering. It's the problem. Like some of the hands are like 1-for-1 dandy. If I 1-for-1 dandy you and either I went first or I do it and you don't have anything to stop it, like you have a D prison set or a Wabaku set, the ending board is so oppressive, and the card advantage generated from things like that is so oppressive that it doesn't matter that you're playing GBs or whatever. You just lose the game because you cannot come back from when the combo decks actually combo off, right? So
yep. I feel like with Forgs, every time I watch a replay or even when I play against it, it always feels like there's just like one small window and you have to capitalize on that window. And if you miss your shot, then it's over.
You'll never be able to surmount a comeback once they get to a certain point. And so this deck, he's playing the Respite build, which is interesting. I like this card. It fixes your hands. He's playing 3 Chariots, so you could put this back if you have like a dead hand or if you have too many of them. It also makes it where Equest can always plus, basically. Like sometimes GBs, the way it plays is, well, when you're playing against GBs, a lot of times you want to not put anything on the field if you don't have a way to protect it, because they'll just pop it and get free advantage. So people are often willing to actually pass their turn. Granted, everyone knows that Secutor is played by pretty much every list now, so it's kind of scary to pass your turn nowadays, but like one of the ways to play against GBs used to be don't commit something if you don't want to lose something. And this card helped with that because it's like you could play Respite, put back GBs, summon a GB, attack, tag out for Request, and add this back, and now you're at 7 cards. And so it just gives you, and it's holding this, it's a real card because eventually you will have GBs, so many GBs that you want to shuffle them around. So
yep, I feel like GBs have the same problem as frogs, where you lose when you have too many GBs or too many frogs, and this and Moray do the same thing. So
yeah, pretty good card. Other than that, Double Starlight Road, that's a little crazy to me. I do not like playing 2 of this card. I think one of it is fine. I would actually rather play another Wabaku. I think this card is cracked out of this world, but yeah, I don't really have like major critiques of this build. It looks like a standard GB build other than the Respite. I think that people will try to play this perhaps in, regular Edison without Trishula. He also was one of the GB players who is actually playing Trishula, even though he can't make it unless he brain cons or econs like Monster.
I would have at least played 1 Airbellum just to have that option.
I said that people could have done that because Cat is 6 levels towards a Trishula. So if you have like a Murmillo on the field or a Rediario on the field and you have Cat, that is Trishula right there.
Granted, or if you have like Cat Tiger. like Yugioh
Right.
Cat into Airbellum and Samnite and Special Tiger.
Yeah, that actually does do it too. Wow. Yeah, there's a lot. I mean, this guy's 3 stars as well. He's playing 2 of it. So there, yeah, he could have absolutely played 1 Airbellum. And to be clear, there is a person who topped, I believe it was Nationals last year with GBs, and they played Airbellum in their GB deck, and they were making like Goyo Guardians of Brio. They actually won a match because of Brio, which is crazy. So, but yeah, this is a cool deck. I like this. All right, moving on to 3rd place, we have Tim Pontes playing Junk Frogs. So 3 copies of Junk Synchron and a Spear of Chaos. For people who don't know what Spear of Chaos does, it says while this card is face up on the field, its attributes also treated as light. Once per turn, this card cannot be destroyed by battle. And then when this card is tribute summoned, so it's like a Monarch, you can add 1 level 3 monster from your deck to your hand. So it can add Junk Synchron to your hand. And his deck, I think that's the only thing. He's not playing Dandelion. But it can also add like Dandelion, it can add Lone Fire, it can add Junk, obviously, and there's a couple other things. I mean, if you just go on Dueling Book and sort by level 3 monsters, level 3 effect monsters, you'll find like a lot of targets. But I like this deck. It is
This is
tricky.
the powerful guy?
Yes, this is powerful. Yep.
Oh, okay, he's playing a different game. He wasn't playing the Trishula Cup. He was playing You Can't Pop Whirlwind Cup.
Yeah, we did see him on stream. He drew like 5 or 6 cards, I think Luke counted, that could get rid of Whirlwind, and he just decided to never ever do it. And it eventually led to his downfall. So I, as a Frog player, I hone in on Whirlwind so hard that I'm annoyed when my deck doesn't give me one of my many ways to get rid of that card, because I know if I'm playing straight up with Blackwings, I can beat them, but I cannot beat them with Whirlwind unless I have like a really, really strong hand that can be like Caius 3400, Caius 3400, special summon Swap Frog, and like Miracle Fusion or something, attack for game, like one of those hands.
Yeah.
Other than that, you can't go toe to toe with Whirlwind. But to build this solid, I like Junk Frogs as a concept. I like the idea of Ultimate Offering. We saw him do some really tricky shit. This was the MVP yesterday for him. He played against a GB player who had summon set 4, and he like summoned Jinzo, and it never left the field. It never ever left the it just walked. The Jinzo walked on 4 back row, and when at the game ended, it was like Prison, Bottomless, Chariot, something else, and then like maybe a Trapstone or something, and then like he drew Book of Moon, but then it got Caiused because he had just drawn Book of Moon and set it. And a guy like bring back Dreamer Frog, tribute for Caius, target the new back row. Then the Book of Moon is only
surprising. Like normally when I see Frog player side Jinzo, it like usually does nothing.
Yes, but against GBs, I think that's the one deck where it's like ridiculous. Yeah. So this was MVP. This actually won him. This got him to 3rd place. Like honestly, this was the reason we all saw. We thought it was over. I was like, well, 4 back row in GBs is like, that's usually a death sentence for every deck. If they're real. And they all were real, but Jinzo shut down every single one, and nothing else could have really done that. I think he might have even had a Starlight Road set as the 4th back row. So this is solid. Like this is cool because if you don't know, you can like wombo combo with Ultimate Offering and Junk Synchron. You like bring back swap, like summon Junk Synchron with Ultimate Offering, bring back swap, bounce Junk Synchron to your hand, pay 500, normal summon Junk Synchron, bring back another Swap Frog, do it again, pay 500, normal summon Junk Synchron, bring back Dupe Frog, and then like you can just wombo combo the craziest. You can just do so much stuff. It like, literally can create a full field from just like having swaps engraved, and one Junk Synchron can do all of that.
And like Sphere of Chaos can like add junk, right? So you can go like Ultimate Offering, summon Treeborn, tribute summon Sphere of Chaos, add junk, normal, it's crazy.
Yeah, he did something against the Blackwing player who like summoned Shura and attacked him directly. No, I'm sorry, it was against a Gladiator Beast player. He summoned Samnite and attacked him directly. We caught this on stream, and he went activate Ultimate Offering, tribute, like summon a guy. He summoned out Treeborn Frog or swap, tributed it with Ultimate Offering, brought out a Caius during the battle phase, banished a Samnite, and then the guy was just like forced to pass, and he ended up losing that game. Like the guy lost that game because 1, you just got your shit Caiused on your own turn, and 2, there's now a Caius on the field, which is huge, right? So I like this. I like this deck a lot. It's very
I want to try it in regular
Edison. Yeah. I mean, it's so crazy. This cuts off Treeborn Frog, but then like when you have Junk Synchron, you don't really need Treeborn Frog access. So his secondary engine in this deck is Junk, and this deck is known in terms of, like, there was always a Junk Frogs deck. I think even before like Hero Frogs became popular, Junk Frogs was the popular frog deck, and it obviously fell to the wayside because it's not as strong as Hero Frogs, but like this combo is outrageous, and this guy's also just really, really good. All right, in 2nd place, we have the guy who went undefeated until the finals, Ronk, my teammate from Ring of Destruction. He was playing Diva Frogs, and he was main decking DDV, siding at 3rd, had a lot of hate for frogs. The reason why I think Ronk did so well is not only because he's an amazing player, but because he also metagamed correctly. He knew there would be a lot of frogs, so he played hate in his main deck for frogs, and he played a lot of frog mirror matches and stuff, and he just destroyed them. This card is so broken, even against, like, obviously against frogs, but it's good against Blackwings. It's good against, like, every time he resolved it, it was very good for him. There was a game where he played against birds, and they both were under DDV. Like, they both DDV'd each other, and they just had to sit there with perfect information and navigate the game state.
Like Frog should win that.
Yeah,
like it's crazy. I feel like this list could also just, instead of the Diva engine, play triple junk, and the DDVs are good too.
Yeah. Well, I think the one caveat is that turn one, if you draw Diva DDV, you can do it right there, whereas junk, if you draw junk plus DDV, you can't. And he was turn one, summon Catastrophe, set a back row pass, and it's like, what are you going to do, right? Like, you can't really do anything about it. But junk
and then
synchron,
you can salvage it back.
Yes.
Like,
yeah, that is broken. Salvage with this. It also, the Moraise is water.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of synergy here.
Ronk's a genius.
He is honestly like the frog god for sure. The number of builds that he has built in this format for frogs that actually function is impressive. Like, I'm impressed that he didn't just say, I'm going to play Forgs now like everyone else and try my hand that way. He actually went for something original, and it worked out. I think his side deck is brilliant, like the Chain Disappearance, the other Karma Cut, the third DDV. You know, it's very well thought out. Like, he has this anti-GB stuff in here where, you know, you side and Death Frog, so that way now your Substitute is an offensive card instead of a defensive card. Flip-flop for any kind of plant deck. And then this is a good mirror match card, the DDS and triple crow, triple mammy. So this is like the most hateful anti-frog deck I've ever seen. Like, this could be played right now, I feel like, in Edison format, and you'd have a good matchup against the birds, but you'd also have a good matchup against the frogs. And I think that's important right now. So this deck is good. And he Trishula. He was the person that Trishula first. We watched him in the first 10 minutes, and he gave us a Trishula as soon as we started watching him. And his opponent was like, the ultimate showman. And I was like, thank you so much, Ronk. Like, you're amazing. It wasn't
the
also
champ.
Right. He's the people's champ. It also wasn't just a Trishula for the sake of doing it. It was also the correct play at the time. Like, he blew his opponent out with that Trish play. Yep. So really, really nice.
I feel like 9 times out of 10, if you can Trishula, that is the correct play.
I agree. I kept telling people, like, bro, you have it right here. Why are we not doing it? Like,
yeah, everyone was so scared, and it's just like, just do it. It's like, it's so good.
That's how you can spot someone who's never played Tengu format, basically. That's like the way, because if you've never experienced a format where Trishula comes down and it's just game breaking, then maybe they don't realize how ridiculous the effect is. Because reading it, I don't know if reading it does it justice. You need to be hit by a Trishula to feel it. When you get hit by a Trishula, you're like, holy shit, that destroyed me.
Yeah, and it's even better in Edison because we don't have Solemn Warning. Like, I feel like in Tengu, you're always afraid of Solemn Warning and overextending, but it's like, this thing will just win you the game.
Yeah, it is so outrageously broken. Banish your Treeborn Frog from grave, banish a card out of your hand, banish your card on field, and if you chain Bottomless, I get a 4th card.
That's insane.
Yeah, and we saw that. We saw a Trishula get Bottomless, and it took 3 other cards, and all 3 of the other cards were relevant. So it's like, bro, one Synchro took away 4 cards. If you don't understand, like, card economy or whatever, I get it, but, like, just, when in doubt, Trishula them out, okay?
Yeah.
All right. And in first place, we have none other than Blackwings, the most boring deck of all time. Shout out to Fonte for winning the tournament, but, like, Blackwings, whenever Blackwings wins, and it wins kind of randomly, like, you never know when it's going to be Blackwings day, but whenever Blackwings wins, it's like, all right, that's just Edison's returning to his default settings. It's like when you go on your phone and you're like, reset the factory default on your phone. That's what Blackwings is every time. People brought all this spice from 2 to 8th place, a bunch of spice. This guy was just like, I'm just playing a regular Blackwing deck with draw traps, and he got there. He did Trish though. Like, he did Trish. We saw him do Blizzard, bring back Kalut, have a level 4 on the field, and just like Trishula, and it was devastating. So
yeah, Blackwings is a good Trishula deck. I mean, he's also playing Book of Moon and My Body, which I thought was like pretty interesting. And yeah, 1 copy of Oppression. I might even go on to 2. There were a lot of GBs, a lot of frogs. I think that this was a good meta call to just like main this card. I think I would have done both. Side deck is like a standard deck, you know, Fissures for Consecrateds and all that stuff, Trap Hole for the mirror, 1 DDV, Dust for the mirror, you know, these cards. Yeah, this is all like very, very, very standard. This is a deck that you could literally just play in Edison format right now, and no one would be able to say like your list is bad. It's a working functional list. He also is a good player. He did like, he's playing against Ronk, and he went summon. Ronk had a dupe block and a substitute on the field, and then like he brought back Treeborn or whatever and tributed for Unifrog and attacked. And a guy was like, Fonte was like, activate, draw agree, chain Icarus, like
pop your shit and just
Yeah, he's really good.
yeah, he knew exactly what he was doing.
He's playing good deck and had good technical play. Like
Yes, and that's the thing about Blackwings. I always say this deck is like it's the training wheels deck of the format, and I don't mean that in a disrespectful way. It is the deck that if I had to give a new player a build, I would give them a Blackwing deck so that they can learn Yu-Gi-Oh fundamentals first, because it's very simple to play. It's like most of the time it's summon and attack, but Blackwings also has an extremely high ceiling, so the floor is high, and that means that you can give a Blackwing deck to a person who's new and it could beat like any player in the format with a Blackwing deck, right? Because it's so broken. Dark Arm Whirlwind, they're very swingy cards, they're very powerful cards, so they can beat anyone. So the floor is high, right? If I gave a Frog deck to a new player, they would have no fucking idea how to do anything. Like they don't know how to do block, they don't know how to do all the sub combos, they don't know how to do bouncing monarchs, they won't see all of that. But like summon and attack is very easy, so the floor is high. The ceiling is also high, but people don't realize that. The reason why you don't see a bunch of Blackwings topping events like that and a bunch of Blackwings winning tournaments is because there's only a few people who are capable of actually playing this deck correctly every round. Most people who play Blackwings are just they're lured to the deck because of broken hands like Whirlwind and Dark Arm and stuff, and they do draw those hands sometimes and they get like the dopamine rush. But then when you draw a hand with Bora, Vayu, 4 spells and traps, and you have to navigate those duels, they're not really good at playing those mediocre hands. And like that's where the good Blackwing players know how to win with the mediocre hands. And I always say you have to learn how to win without Whirlwind. That is what I say to Stengo all the time. When I was training him on like just playing Edison, I would say you have to win without Whirlwind, because he would win with Whirlwind and send me a replay, and I'm like, okay, cool, but you drew Whirlwind all 3 games. He should even have won the second game, but like, sure. But when you don't draw Whirlwind, you're not winning, and that's what you need to work on. Like literally take the Whirlwind out of your deck, play the deck that way, learn how to actually play Blackwings. I feel like you don't know how to play Blackwings if you don't have your broken ass Whirlwind card. So anyway, this deck it's good. If you're a good player, it's a very good deck. And even if you're not a good player, it's still a very good deck, but like it won't carry, it will not carry you is what I want to say. It will not carry you.
Yep. Surprisingly, no Vayu or Hero Frog in the top 8.
We had the one guy who's playing 45 cards.
The 45, yeah, Hero Frog.
Yeah, it was like, yeah, he was doing everything. Like his deck, where is it? Was it Alpha?
He was like the ultimate boss of frogs.
Yeah, he also technically playing junk frogs. It was like junk, junk hero Forg. It was everything. Like he couldn't decide to cut any cards, so he just added 5.
Yeah.
But this is a good turnout. You know, it was a good turnout for this. 40 people, and the tournament was free to enter. Like people who were in the Discord server, they were allowed to just register for the tournament. There was no like caveats or anything like that. It was exactly as advertised. We've done many of these tournaments now, so hopefully the community has realized that like I give away thousands of dollars a year in just tournaments that are free to play in for the people in our Discord. And if you want to join our Discord server, you have to go through our Patreon, so please check that out. There's a link in the description of literally every video on the channel, including this one. Also, thank you to Sushant for coming and just doing this quick little top 8 analysis. And yeah, we'll catch you in the next one, guys. Peace.